Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with All Things Barbecue, and today I'm gonna reverse sear a whole strip loin. Well, what we're working with today is a 12-pound hunk of beef strip loin, and what I wanna do to get started is get it trimmed up. As you can see, we've got a pretty good fat cap on this guy, and we wanna remove it so we can access the meat, so we can really get some smoke penetration as well as some seasoning down there. Now, this is a pretty big hunk of meat, and it's perfect if you're doing a party or something, but it's also easy to find these in smaller, like 3-pound sections at your local butcher or meat market. Now here you can see some of this silver skin. That stuff's really tough, really chewy, and that's one of the things we definitely want to get rid of. You might be wondering why I'm removing all of this fat cap. I know a lot of people like to keep a fat cap on with the idea that it's going to baste the meat as it cooks. And that's not necessarily true. Honestly, the fat that's basting the meat while it cooks is the intramuscular fat that runs through the meat. And removing all this fat cap is a bit of work, so you might be wondering, does it hurt to leave it on there? Well, it depends on what you're going for. If you leave it on, you will definitely have a nice, tender piece of meat underneath the fat cap once it's done cooking. But the other thing you'll have is really gray meat that hasn't been seasoned and hasn't had access to the smoke, so it's kind of flavorless. So you kind of just got to pick what you're going for. Do you want to add some smoke and flavor, or do you want it to be super moist? Honestly, we're going to try and crisp this thing up on the outside at the end with the reverse sear, so a nice moist surface is not what we're going for. All right, once I've trimmed the fat cap off the top, you get to one side and you'll find that there's this chain that sits on the side of the loin, and there's very little meat in it. So what I did is I simply sliced it off of there, and then so you can see, there's just not a lot of meat in there. This is something you could throw on the grill as a snack or something, but it's really better suited to go into your grind for burgers. With the chain removed, that allows us to access this side where we can find some more silver skin that we might want to get rid of. All right, we got this guy trimmed up, so I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit of vegetable oil to bind our rub. It's a very thin layer, and you could use a variety of things on this, mustard if you want, or even a hot sauce or something. And the seasoning today is very simple. We're just using a little bit of the Our Butts Are Smoking our beef rub. This is one of my favorite beef rubs right now. It's got a little paprika you see for the color, but big garlic and pepper flavors in it. I really like it for a savory beef rub. Let's give that a few minutes to set up on the meat, and once we see some nice moisture pockets forming, we're gonna take this over to the smoker. Today we're cooking on our Yoder Smokers YS640 pellet grill. It's set to 250 degrees, and we're running pecan and cherry pellets. The technique we're using today is called a reverse sear. And what that means is we're gonna smoke it for a while before finishing it over high heat. And what that does is it brings the temperature up slowly inside the meat so that it cooks more evenly, and then we throw the crust on at the end with that high heat sear. All right, we're gonna place this loin right here on the second shelf in our Yoder. But if you were doing this in a different kind of cooker, say a gas grill or something like that, what you'd want to do is just turn off half your burners, leave half of them on, and then put your meat on the half without the burners for an indirect cooking area. Then you could throw some wood chips on this side so you can get some nice smoke. Now, for those of you interested in adding another element to your steak dish, I want to show you guys how to make a really good creme fraiche sauce. So what you're gonna do is the night before you wanna have this sauce, you're gonna put a pint of heavy cream in a container. This could be a ball jar or something like that as well. And add to it 2 tablespoons of cultured buttermilk. You'll let this sit out at room temperature overnight, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna thicken up and turn into almost like a sour cream. It's really nice, funky cream sauce. So give it a shake and just let it sit overnight. And what you're gonna end up with the next day is this nice thick sauce. So we're gonna add a few flavoring agents to this creme fraiche, although it would be really good just the way it is. Now what I want to do to kind of spice up our creme fraiche is add to it a fire roasted poblano, a little bit of lime juice, some garlic, salt, and pepper. The poblano I've roasted on a side burner, but you could do this under the broiler in your oven or directly on your grill over the direct heat. But what you want to do is try and get that skin nice and black and then stick it into that plastic bag to steam. After about 15 minutes, the skin should have released itself from the flesh, so you can remove the seeds and then peel the skin right off the outside. And I'm just going to mince this up nice and fine, and then we'll fold it into our creme fraiche. I'm actually going to mash this up nice and fine. Since it's raw, we don't want big chunks of it in our sauce. We'll do just a squeeze of lime juice, maybe a couple of teaspoons. Add a little pepper and some of our hickory smoked salt. That's gonna be awesome with that steak. All right, we're right at 105 degrees internal temperature, so I'm gonna take this roast out of the cooker. I'm gonna cover it with foil, just loosely. And we're gonna prepare the grill for direct grilling. Now we've got our grill grates installed, and we're gonna remove the door on our 2-door diffuser. We'll put these back in place and turn the grill up to 450 degrees. Now, if you don't have a 2-door diffuser, what you want to do is remove the entire diffuser and then put your grill grates on top of the flame. If you're cooking on a gas grill, now would be the time when you're going to move the meat over to the direct side of the grill so that the flame is actually touching the meat. And the same thing goes for charcoal cooking. You'd now be cooking on top of the coals. The goal is to get a nice crust on the outside and then pull it at about 120, 125 degrees for a medium rare. All right, the grates are super hot now. Only took about 5 minutes to get up to temperature, and these are going to go directly over the flame. All right, so we're getting some nice color on the outside now. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over and get some color on the opposite side. All right, we're up at that 120 degree internal temperature range, so we're gonna pull this off the cooker. Just gonna loosely cover it with foil, and we'll let this rest just to kind of let those juices redistribute for a few minutes. Well, after resting for about 10 minutes, you can go ahead and cut these things into nice thick steaks for individual servings. And you can see we've got a really beautiful pink color in the middle there. Well, I don't think I have the patience to plate this up for you guys today. I'm gonna go ahead and get a bite right here on the table. That's fantastic. I love the way that creaminess breaks up what's going on with the rub and everything else. Very savory, really good. That steak is as tender as steak gets, and it's all about cooking it to the right temperature. It's fairly pink from end to end, and that's really the advantage of doing that reverse sear. You get that temperature to come up nice and even. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to thesauce.atbbq.com. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.